we have a guest speaker today, and all of the guest speakers that eventually you will be exposed to are people that I know. And it's people that I trust, and it's people who have a message that I know will be transformational for you. So the word transformational means change. So I know the messages that the folks that I'm inviting to speak to all of you will basically be an impetus for change. Okay, will be kind of a spark for change. And so we have Janaelle Humberd here today, who I know through the gym that I go to. So I go to Fit Revolution in North Reading. It's the place that makes me happy. I'm usually there 7 times a week if I can be. And Janaelle actually is an instructor there, and that's where I first met her. And I judge everybody who I take classes with all the time, because I also want to learn from them. I really do, because the words that instructors use resonate with me. And sometimes I'll take some of their comments and their words and their phrases and their stories and share it with the people that I'm working with. So Janelle's going to talk to us about her journey and about what she is doing right now. And the theme, the overarching theme that we have for tonight is nutrition. So Janaelle, I know we have a series of questions that I'm going to pull up, but I would really just like you to start off just sharing your journey kind of as a young person navigating through nutrition and health and wellness. And thank you very much, and welcome to our group.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. So I'll just start off and just talk a little bit. I've been actually a dietitian now for, it's hard to believe, 20 years. And back when I was in middle school and high school, we didn't have the things that we have today. So nutrition wasn't taught in schools. You couldn't find out about it. We didn't have Google, social media. I mean, it was like, we just saw magazines, and we were really clueless on how to fuel our body, what to put in our body. And I grew up and I had a lot of issues with body image, and I was actually always really active. And then as my body started to change, I was very self-conscious, and I just kind of followed the lead. I got information from my friends, and we just, we did a lot of fad diets. And it actually, there's something that always sticks out in my head. I was on the swim team, and I remember right before a meet, I felt like I hadn't eaten enough and I needed all this energy. And I remember telling my friend, can you just go next door and get me Snickers bar? I just need quick fuel. And I don't know what I was thinking. I just never knew anything about nutrition. So I struggled a lot, and I just decided that it would be something awesome if I could just start studying it so I could learn about it. And knowledge is power. So I decided to go to college and just start off with a major in nutrition. And my first course, I just loved everything about it. And then I just kind of went on from there. And the more I learned, the more I was able to just take more control in my life and become happier with myself. Because it's something that everybody struggles with. Even as a dietitian now, it's out there. We see all these perfect images on social media. I actually posted something today because I saw a quote about how, the images we see in magazines, and even now, like anywhere on the internet, they're actually not real life. And it takes hours and hours to get those perfect images. And that's all we see. So we strive for this perfection. And it's really about just being happy with yourself. And I, for myself, just focus more on how I feel. So that's kind of how I practice with my clients, and, just really focusing on finding your happy place, your happy weight, and more about just learning how to fuel your body in the right way.
So if I can add to that, because I actually am taking notes as you're speaking, but the whole thing about all of us here today, we're 12, we're 14, we're 16, we're 18, we're 50. And what I just took out of the first 3 minutes that Janaelle presented to us was, there's 2 words that I wrote down. The first one was fuel. Okay. So our bodies are machines, and we need that to operate, whether it be in school or on the soccer field. And the second word that I wrote down, and I actually circled both of them, was happy. Okay.
Mhm.
Happy. So important. So, and Janaelle, I did like your post that you had. So can you just talk to us a little bit more about that, the fueling piece, so nutrition and athletic performance for us?
Yep, absolutely. So, I mean, that's exactly what it is. Food is fuel. And I like to give the analogy of a car engine. So, in order for it to run, you have to go and put gas in it. And when it runs out, it barely runs. And there's better fuel for a car. I mean, you're not going to put a bottle of Coke in, and expect a car to run. I try and give that analogy that the better your fuel, the more nutritious, the better you will run, the better you will feel. There's certain foods that kind of zap your energy, and certain foods that give you more energy. So it's learning what to put in your body. And athletes especially, they just need that extra good fuel in order to do their best. And I mean, that's exactly what food is. And then the more that you find that you're finding this happy balance with putting good stuff in your body, the more you want to do it, and you just feel better. And it's just so important with athletes. The dieting mentality is, trying to get away from that. I mean, dieting is really for people who struggle with real life diseases. I mean, I work in a hospital, so I see the other side, and I see sickness, and it has nothing, athletes are the other end of the spectrum. They need fuel. And that's what their bodies are meant to run on. So when you think of it like that car engine, and you think like, if your gas light is on, what do? You fuel it up. And that's sort of, I say, listen to your body. You're hungry, feed it. Don't ignore it.
I do think too, with our soccer schedules, like sometimes we have a game at 8 a.m. So we're in the car at 6 a.m. and, we're last minute, because we just are, all of us. I am last minute as well. And we're just taking things like, on the go, and then we play, and then we are frustrated with our level of play. And I feel like we don't make the connection that it was because we weren't prepared from a nutrition perspective.
Yeah.
So if you can add to that, that would be great in terms of preparing for what you're going to eat as part of your soccer journey.
Yep. And to be honest with you, one of the things that's really frustrating for a lot of people is that it's, I don't want to say it's difficult, but you have to prepare a little bit. You have to and it doesn't have to be difficult. You just have to make sure that you have something on hand. And so what I start with is find something you like first. I'm not going to, I have a bunch of different clients, and one of my favorite things is oatmeal. I just love it. I look forward to my bowl of oatmeal. I might not be eating it before a spin class, but it's an example I like to give, because if I'm seeing somebody and they're like, I don't like oatmeal, and I say, well, don't eat oatmeal, So it's finding something you like and then making it easy. It doesn't have to be complicated. So anything that's easy to bring with you on the go. I love protein shakes because they're super easy. I can make it the night before. Even something as little as like hard-boiled eggs, or something that you can grab in the go, eat in the car, or something. It doesn't have to be complicated, but there is a little bit of prep work in order for you to be successful, and it's worth it. And so for me, when I feel good, I am my best. So I go out of my way to, make sure I meal prep and do some things so that I have them on hand. And then I find that I'm just like 100% better, even just in my, I'm a mom to 2 young kids. And when I don't eat, I find that I'm just cranky. And so it's worth it. And then it just becomes a habit. But I like to tell people it doesn't need to be difficult to have nutritious, healthy things on hand. It's just making the effort to make those choices. People go out and they buy junk food. It's just as easy to buy healthy food. It's just learning what's going to work for you and your body. And you definitely have to make sure you like it. So there's a little bit of trial and error. Some people love trail mix, or you can even buy healthier nutrition bars out there. Like I said, a protein shake. It's whatever works for you. But try not to think of it, it's so much work, because it really isn't. It's just finding something that you love, and then having that be a little bit of a habit that you get into, and then it becomes mindless. it's so easy for me now. I don't even think of it. And that's because I've made it into like a good habit. Even I tell my daughter, she doesn't like to eat in the morning. She's 7. I say, just eat a banana, have something, and it's 2 seconds. You don't have to do anything. We eat it in the car. And even that is better than nothing. And then to add to that, I'll never forget one of the very first classes I took, in college. The very first minute, the professor sat there and asked everybody, there was over 100 people. He said, how many people, it was 8 a.m. He said, how many people here have ate breakfast? And nearly anybody raised their hand. And he said, well, I'll tell you right now, you're all failing. But he said, well, what you'll find is food is also it's not just for your body to run, it's for your brain. Your brain is better off when you give it the right fuel. So when you're going to go take a test, or even if you're on the field and you have to make quick decisions, that's something, when people are hungry, they're cranky, they can't think straight. I mean, that's a real thing. Your brain works off of fuel. I mean, that's why food is here for us. So it's just finding the right stuff. And it doesn't mean you have to go overboard too. Like you said, the early morning, if you don't do well on a really full stomach, you just have a little bit, and that's better than nothing.
Great, thank you. I also want to say that if you do have a question, anyone, please use the chat, or you can raise your hand and hopefully I can find you. We have a number of people here. So, but please use the chat if you do have a question. Parents as well. I do see a lot of parents on also. I struggle a lot with body image. I really do. And I know I'm 50 and I should have my stuff together, but I don't. Okay. And I really do attribute a lot of that to what I'm seeing, as you mentioned in the beginning, with social media. And I work out a lot, and my body is not changing the way I want it to change. And it's been very frustrating for me. So what I am working on, and I'm going to be totally honest, this is therapy for me. What I'm working on is just being happy in the body that I have. My body type is my body type. And no matter how much I train, whether I am in a spin class and then try to do 2 classes, my body's still going to be the same. And I'm still Dina, and it's okay. Janaelle, I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit to having us kind of change our mindset a little bit and just really appreciating who we are, because we're all beautiful in our own way.
Right. And that is huge. And I'll tell you, it's all ages struggle with it. I mean, even me as a dietitian, I mean, it's out there in our faces everywhere. And that post I made today was that the stuff you see out there actually isn't real. I took a course in college on body image, and they actually, and it will always resonate with me. They showed us what they do to a photograph. And by the end of the photograph, it looked like a completely different person. They took somebody and they altered the image to get this perfection. And it took them hours to get there. So remembering that, but also, just like we work on our bodies, I always like to say this analogy too, you go into the gym and you're lifting weights to keep your body strong. You have to do the same thing with your mind in terms of getting yourself to remind yourself about the positivity towards yourself. And every day, know that your body is here to take you through this life, and it does amazing things. And when you focus on what it does for you and how great it is, I mean, you're running, you're playing this beautiful game, and you're strong. And the more you tell yourself that, then it starts to become a way of thinking. And the biggest thing I'd say, stop comparing yourself to others. Everybody is different. Good health comes in all shapes and sizes. Just like if you were to have a best friend who was a size larger or smaller, you wouldn't look at them and say anything negative about it. You have to start trying to do that to yourself. But it is a practice, and we all suffer from it. I say, get away from all those, negative things that when you look at it, it's just not serving you well. Whether it's social media or a friend or whatever, it's surrounding yourself by people who are going to bring you up, because it's something we all suffer from. But just continuing to the comparison is the thief of all joy. That will get you nowhere. So that's like really where you have to start, and then just focus on your body for what it does for you. Right. But it is definitely, like you said, I mean, we all have these bodies, and it's like a shoe size. I mean, embrace it for what it is, treat it kindly, and and the more that you accept it, the more you start to love yourself.
Great, thank you. We do have a question in the chat. What protein shake would you recommend for 15-year-old girls?
So the protein shakes out there now, I mean, there's a lot. I think that getting away from a lot of whey protein now, it has a lot of additives and stuff. I like plant-based. And I buy a brand called Truvani, which is a little bit on the, I want to say, pricier side, but it's very pure. It's something that I have all the time, so I'll invest. But it's made from very natural ingredients. So if you look on, like, because there's probably hundreds out there, and there's a lot that are great. It's learning how to read a label, and if you can't recognize a word, I say don't put it in your body. So a lot of the whey proteins, I would say, are not great for younger athletes. I like the plant-based because they're more natural, because whey is one of those overly processed proteins. So it's because there's so many different brands, it's hard for me to just come up with, I say, because if you go to Whole Foods, you could find a dozen that are healthy. It's just a matter of learning, is this word, like, do I understand this word? I say, if you can't read it, don't put it in your body. You want it to be something that you recognize.
Okay, good advice. Anyone else have any questions? And you don't want to put it in the chat, just, you can unmute yourself if you do have a question, or you can raise your hand. Okay, I have a follow-up question to just like the hydration piece. Like, how, I think a lot, soccer players were on the field, and sometimes we're on for the whole half and we don't come off. And in training, sometimes we forget our water. But can you give us a little bit of help with the hydrating before going to any sessions and then after as well?
Yes, huge. I mean, hydration is one of the littlest, easiest things that the more you do it, the better you feel, the better you look. Like, it's such a small thing. If you could do one thing, I would say stay hydrated. It's not easy. I actually just got this water bottle this is funny, I have it right here. It tells me the times of the day. So, like, it'll say you start here, it's full. And then if I get down here, it says 10 a.m. It kind of gives you in line of where you should be. And this is just to remind myself. I just got my husband one that lights up when he needs to take a drink. I mean, that's how it's hard for everybody, but your body and your organs, and it needs to stay hydrated to run efficiently, just like food. But hydration is almost more important, because when you're dehydrated, you're zapped of your energy. Sometimes you feel hungry. You're definitely sluggish. So even just small sips. If you don't like to chug a little water, just small sips, but definitely getting it in before. And then whenever you can, like you said, you don't take any breaks. Just as soon as you get the chance to get a break, just grab that water. I mean, a nice rule of thumb for a minimum a day is take your body weight and divide it in half, and that's how many ounces. So if you're 130 pounds, it's about 65 ounces. That would be a minimum. Which is like what, a normal eight ounce glasses. That's what, like your doctor might tell you, but it definitely, you would find a difference in your energy level.
And I have to say, I've been taking hydration seriously. I'm sharing a lot of therapy. This league has been great for me. But I have been drinking water so much, but I've been drinking a lot of tea too, just to change it up for myself. So I've just been really trying to do the little things during the day, because I've been sitting a lot, because I teach and I'm in front of the computer and I'm on Zoom quite a bit. So I'm just trying to find little tricks along the way. And in fact, I'm not looking forward to going back in person, because I feel like it's going to take away from my hydration, because I have a routine, and now I have to change my routine. We do have a question here, pre-game, including the day before and post-meal games. What do you recommend for our elite athletes here?
So the carbohydrate and protein combination for a meal is the most important. When are your games? Are they usually morning, or?
It could vary depending on the day. Yeah.
So your body stores your muscles have a storage area for, they call it glycogen. It's carbohydrates are actually stored in your muscle. So fueling up on carbs, and you don't need to go overboard. You just want to have a good carbohydrate / protein meal prior. So the meal prior to a game. And if, like if it was the evening game, even, lunch or even that morning, your body will still have those stores. But carbs is your main fuel. That's your body wants to run off carbs first and foremost. So if you have a any type of carbohydrate, and I don't know if everybody even knows, what carbohydrates are, but they're the pastas and the breads and oatmeal, potatoes, rice, even some vegetables. Getting those in is very important for your fuel. And then the protein is for your muscles. So that's the chicken, the protein powder, eggs, and that combination is really the best. And again, everyone runs differently off of how they feel after a meal. So the timing of it, some people can't. I personally, it's funny, I cannot work out on a full stomach. I need to, it doesn't make me feel good. So depending on what time of day, if I'm teaching a spin class, early in the morning, I'm not going to be able to eat right before. But if I'm teaching one at night, I might have my last meal a few hours before, because I know that's how my body is. Some people, everyone is a little different. So that's trial and error. But for sure, the carb and the protein combination is the best thing for fuel.
Great, thank you. Because I think a lot of people give carbs a bad name, to be honest with you. So I'm glad you brought up the importance of the combination.
They are your energy. Yep. Their first form of energy. Your body just wants to grab those and run with it. So for athletes, like I said, the low carb diets, they're more for people that have, these diseases that they need to, reverse. And it's not for athletes on low carb diets. Doesn't make any sense, because then your body's struggling. You're pulling the energy from other places like your muscles, and you want to, your muscles need protein to build and go get strong. So, and like I said, it doesn't mean you have to have this huge, we actually, back in the day, we used to have pasta parties before our swim meets. And I used to think I had to drown myself in this huge bowl. I mean, it doesn't mean you have to go overboard. You just need to have a nice serving, a serving of a good carbohydrate.
Great, thank you. And I know you talked a little bit about snacks, but sometimes we're in tournaments. So we're playing multiple games in a day, back to back. So what do you suggest? Because we might only just have like an hour and a half, 2 hours in between games.
What do I suggest? 4 snacks, you mean?
Yes.
So actually I have on my website, I have a really cool, clean eating snack tab where it's like, maybe over 30, but
I'm pulling it up right now so everyone can kind of see it. So
but again, I think it's definitely what you find you like and what's easy for you. Being that, something like one of my favorite on the go bars is an RX bar. I don't know if you've ever heard of those, because they're very natural. It's like egg whites, and they make it from all natural food sources. So if you need to pack something with you, but I love, even just like making a shake, bringing it with you, anything on the go, a yogurt, trail mix, hard-boiled eggs. I love fruit, any type, like apple, nuts are great. Something that's going to keep you satisfied, and make it super easy. You don't have to, it's really about, I like to tell people the main thing is personal preference of what you find you like the most, and that's going to get you to eat it. If you're going to pack something, you're like, I don't really want this. Some people love, like I said, I love apples. Some people love bananas or a fruit. Anything that's going to get you some type of fuel is better than nothing.
Great. And I just put in the chat Janelle's website, and also I'll put it on Instagram later today, but you can also follow Janaelle on Instagram as well. She's been tagged in everything that I've posted so far over the last couple of days. So, okay, this is a really good question, and I actually struggle with this one. Do you recommend players hydrate with electrolytes during the half?
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Electrolytes are great because if you're sweating a lot, that's the main thing. Are you sweating a lot? So you're putting those electrolytes back in your body for sure. They have a lot of drinks out there that are, I can't keep up, to be honest with you, the electrolyte drinks. I mean, my husband just actually brought one home today. That's, I'm like, what is that? They have Gatorade. And so there's a lot of different ones. I think the simple are the best. You're not getting all the bad, sugars. Even Gatorade can have a lot of those extra sugars, and they're not bad for you, but you want to just, simple electrolyte drinks are fine. You don't necessarily need them unless you're profusely sweating. But you can tell by your thirst. When you're thirsty, your body's telling you that you're dehydrated. So you're trying to get ahead of the thirst. That's why it's good to keep up with the water. But it's fine in terms of, having an electrolyte drink is fine. Like you said, especially if it's going to get you to drink the water, but water would be okay as well. Some people find so my husband, for instance, I keep bringing him up, but he likes the electrolytes because it gets him to drink the water after a workout, where he wouldn't want to normally have a full glass of water. That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got sucked into the whole, I don't want to just use Gatorade, but Powerade kind of movement. And it's just become the norm that we see that. I think we see athletes also drinking, professional athletes have a cup that has Powerade or Gatorade plastered, but in that cup is probably not Gatorade.
Exactly.
Powerade.
And that's just a way for these companies to sell their product. So having just water would be fine, but it's not, it's not harmful to have it if it's going to get you to drink more, if that makes sense.
Well, we have a lot of players who are playing a number of games and practices throughout the week and weekend, and our seasons are short, and then we go into another season. How can you get us to kind of plan our meals and pack our snacks versus, having our parents do all the work? Like, what advice can you give to us as, the 12 to 18-year-olds to really kind of take control over our nutrition?
So what I always go back to ask yourself, what is it that you like to eat? Because that's the first thing. Yeah. If in order for you to eat healthy, you have to like the food you're eating. There's a lot of different foods out there. And it's a matter of finding something that works for you. And then just take control of, saying, you're going to have what you want, and make a point to just the night before. You don't have to do it every single day. A couple times a week, just doing a little bit of meal prep, or, I guess it depends on, like how much, are you grocery shopping and that kind of thing, who's doing the grocery shopping and whatnot. But for sure, I think it's a couple days during the week just to take a few minutes to just put it in a bag and pack it up for yourself. And make it easy and something that you like, because you're not going to want it if you don't like it. So that's where the trial and error, comes in. Of just when I meet with people, I start by asking, what are your favorite foods? And then we kind of go from there. We might take a recipe and revamp it so that it's a little bit healthier. If you look at my Instagram page, I have a sweet tooth. So, I try and I call myself the fun dietitian because I take foods that are not so healthy, and I try and make them healthy. I have cookie dough or muffins. I make healthy muffins. That's a great idea to have something that you can make ahead of time and you can pack it with you. So you're getting all the good nutrition from the muffin, and it's easy on the go, that kind of thing. So but it does take a little bit of trial and error at the beginning to just, do a little research, find a recipe, think, oh, I might like this. And then you try it and then it works for you. And then you can just stick with it.
Yeah, Janaelle has a lot of tips on snacks and just preparation of food. So please make sure you go onto her website. But I think the favorite food thing could be another thing for all of us to jot down as players that could add to your homework list. We're going to have a lot of homework over the next couple of weeks, but I think it's important to be mindful about what you like and, and also communicating with your parents. So, for myself, you know, I kind of chuckle when you say who's doing the food shopping, because now everything is like kind of like Amazon Fresh and,
Yeah.
you know, Instacart kind of thing. And it has actually helped my family because I'll just say, okay, guys, like I'm going to order some stuff. What do you want? And now they have like, it's populated already, their list. And it's a discussion point that we have about around food. Like, okay, you know, my son Quinn wants all the junk food, and it's like, okay, we have to put that. I want him to have junk food because I want him to be a kid, but he also is 6 feet tall and 13, and I also want him to eat. So he's not,
Right.
you know, he's making the most out of the body that he has when he's out there performing. So I think the communication piece is really important from athlete to parent as well. So I would like some of the players, if you can share with us, do you like to cook? And what are your favorite foods? If we can have some participation here from some of the players. Feel free to just unmute yourself. If not, I will be happy to call on some people. Come on, come on. Caroline C, 05, what do you got? Right.
Yeah, I like to cook.
You do? Okay, what do you like to cook? Share with us.
Italian food. I'm a little Italian, so.
Not a lot Italian, just a little Italian. All right.
Little.
What's your favorite meal to eat?
Probably pasta.
Mine too. It's hard to get away from the pasta.
I love pasta. And there's so many different types of pasta out there now too. I mean, you can have, you know, all and all of them serve a purpose, you know. One of like my kids love fries. And so we've actually gotten into making our own fries. I actually got an air fryer, which is really cool. But before I had it, we would bake our own fries and they love them. You know, it's just taken a little bit more time to just do it ourselves instead of going out and getting, you know, fast food. But, you know, so they're still having the foods that they love and we're just making them a little healthier. We'll make the sweet potato fries, you know, and just finding, you know, like I said, recipes that you love, and then just adding, you know, you can add vegetables to pizza, or, you know, I don't know how many people love, you know, vegetables. I'm a big vegetable person. I love salads, but I'll add things to my salads that I love too, you know, just to make them tasty so that I do eat them.
And I would say too, you know, going along meal prep and making things with your family, you know, this is another thing to celebrate as a group, right? So your parents are there supporting you on the soccer field, but helping your parents in the kitchen or being the person who is cooking the meal, because we're all old enough to do it, for your family is nice, okay? Because you're going to build habits. Eventually you're going to be in college and you're going to have to make decisions on your own to get up, go to the dining hall, and there's going to be more choices than you ever imagined when you step onto a college campus to pick the foods. There's so many choices out there, from the drinks that you can select to all of the different types of meals. And colleges are doing a much better job for actually athletes. They actually are starting. Many colleges have protein stations for athletes. They'll know the schedules of the teams that are in season, and so they'll know, okay, there's a game on Saturday, so Friday they will change their menu to accommodate athletes. So that's one of the things too when you're searching for colleges eventually, is the dining hall and the options you have. So most institutions have more than one place to eat, and you have to make sure, just like Janaelle was saying, like your favorite foods, you have to make sure that the offerings kind of mesh with what you like, because we want you to eat, because you are paying tuition to eat as well. So those things are really important when you go on tours for college campuses, is to ask about the protein stations and the offerings that are specific to athletes as well. These are questions that people forget to ask because you go on a campus and you're just kind of like, it's a lot to take in. But think about it, every day you're in the dining hall, every single day. Okay, every day you're not in the classroom. That's important to recognize. So you're always going to spend the most time in the dining hall, and you have to make sure the offerings kind of mesh with, you know, what you like. All right, any other players here would like to share what they like to eat or cook with us, or any questions, or any of the older folks here? Laura F loves the bagels. I wish I could see your face. Where are you, Laura? Well, wherever you are, I'm right with you, woman. I love bagels too. And I feel like there's been a little bagel shaming in this world. So I think for me, when I was growing up, these are my pre-game was like pasta. When I had weekend games, I always had pasta, and it became really part of my like ritual to prepare for my games. So I would eat the pasta, I'd go play, score a couple of goals, and I always would attribute it to what I ate. I'm not kidding. And the bagels, when I was in college, was a really big thing for our soccer team. That was part of our ritual, was bagels.
Oh,
So
yeah.
go ahead,
In-
Janelle, sorry.
In college, my house when I was in my junior and senior year was next to the bagelry. And I mean, there was a time where, I had to say, okay, I got to stop. I would have it for breakfast, and I'd have, tuna on a bagel for lunch, and, and everything. Bagels were my favorite. I actually get that seasoning from Trader Joe's, everything but the bagel, and I put it on everything because I love it that much.
We just
But
started doing that in my house too. I think it's fantastic. Somebody wrote, I eat a lot of grilled chicken. That's fantastic. That's Reagan, right? A lot of grilled chicken. That's great. A lot of grilled chicken with Caesar salad. We have someone that's a Kodiak chocolate protein muffins, the
love
Kodiak
it.
brand. I've had a couple of the Kodiak pancakes. Janelle, what do you think about that?
Yeah, they're great. I love that there's more choices out there now to get the protein into something like a muffin. So whenever I'm doing my own, or like I actually just recently bought pancakes, the protein pancakes. Like they even have a simple one at Trader Joe's. I even give it to my kids. So it's great to get the protein in there with something that otherwise wouldn't have it. And I think those are great. So that would be a perfect example of something that's really easy to take with you on the go.
And for those early morning kind of drives, for sure.
Yep. Yep.
Parents, I see a lot of you out there. What are your concerns about around nutrition and your soccer player? And there's some coaches here as well. Coaches, if you want to chime in too, and what you're seeing, if you're seeing fatigue or anything that you want to ask, please let me know. I have someone who posted in the message, and then I'll let someone speak. Don't skip meals. So Janelle, I don't know if you could speak to that, because I feel like a lot of people are skipping meals.
Yes. And I always ask, what's the reason somebody would be skipping meals? Are they ignoring hunger? What is, so when your body starts to get hungry, that's your body telling you that you need fuel. So never ignore the hunger. And some days you might be more hungry than others, but skipping meals, it's not a good habit to get into. Your metabolism is something that the more it needs to run, and you need to keep it running to be efficient. Like the same thing with, like the engine. I also like to give the analogy of a fire. When it starts to die down, you give it a little bit of, fuel, or you add some wood. And so when your body, like when you're skipping those meals, it's like your metabolism starts to slow. I mean, you don't want to have it go all this time, and you're ignoring a big hunger signal. That's your body just telling you, oh, I've run out of fuel and now I need to eat. So everyone is a little bit different, especially, but for athletes, for sure, you should be feeling hungry more often because you're burning up that energy. And so that's where it comes in with the snacks. The whole purpose of a snack is to get you to your next meal. So, I tell people the most important thing that you actually can do is really listen to your body. I don't eat according to a time on the clock. I eat when my body tells me if I'm hungry. So I don't care if I'm in a meeting and I have to tell people, I'm sorry, I'm just going to have a little something to eat. I mean, I really, I don't ignore it. And I think you have to honor that. And that's like when you feel that sensation, that's a good thing. That's your body working and telling you need fuel. So ignoring that is just going to run you into trouble down the road. I mean, I see a lot of women who have dieted their whole lives, and then they end up, in trouble because they say, well, I'm barely eating anything and I'm gaining all this weight. And it's because they weren't feeding themselves properly for so many years. so you want to get your body efficient at what it's best known for, and that's burning fuel. So definitely, not, skipping meals isn't great, especially, when you need all that fuel to, practice and games.
I agree. And I actually have started to recognize that in myself. I'm hungry a lot, and I am eating. And this is what I started to do for myself, because I wanted to make sure what I was consuming was helping me like get through the day, because I have very long hours. So I work out at 5 a.m., but I'm working throughout the night, just teaching, and I teach online. So I'm up at all hours, and I have 2 kids that I'm driving around. So I usually cut things up in the morning, like fruit or something I can grab right away. And it takes an extra 10 minutes.
Yep.
Originally I was like, I'm not going to prep because
Yep.
it takes so long. It doesn't once you get into it. Does someone
And
else
it's
have
worth that 10 minutes. It's so worth the 10 minutes,
It sure is. Did someone have a question and I interrupted? Sorry, you can unmute yourself if you did. Anyone here? Any coaches at all that want to chime in? Don't be shy.
I have a quick question about how to help prevent muscle cramping or muscle or tendon injuries, and using nutrition to support that.
So I wonder if the muscle cramping could be dehydration. That's very common. But protein at every meal is a great way to prevent, your body needs protein, your muscles need protein to grow and to stay fueled. So that's why I said that combination is really important. When you look at a plate, you just want to see this balance of, you have your vegetables, your protein, your carb, and then a little bit of that healthy fat. And that's a nice balanced meal. But for sure, just making, because it is actually harder. I'm just speaking for my kids. They don't tend to eat as much protein as they do the carbs. They're young, but when you get up into that, when you're an athlete, your muscles need that protein. So finding that balance is a really good idea to properly fuel.
And I would add to, the players here, when your parents are like, hey, try this. And you're like, no, I'm not going to try this salmon or this piece of haddock or, this piece of steak. The whole point is to really expose yourself to different things, because you don't know what you like until you taste the stuff. So I think that's another thing, that to be open-minded about what your parents are offering to you, because they've tried it and they like it. They're not going to give you, although I know we do that with our friends. You taste something and it's gross and you want everyone else to taste it. I get it. Your parents are not going to do that. Okay. So trying different things is really important. All right. We have a question here. Is it Jazzy or Jay-Z from 05 Best FC? If you want to unmute yourself, you can tell me how to pronounce your name correctly.
It's Jazzy.
Love it, Jazzy. All right. How can we balance our meals, making sure we're eating enough with school getting back to full swing?
So you mean being in school, or?
Yeah, because I think we're mostly all of us going back in person.
So I'm not sure how the school, I'm not really, I don't know if you're talking about like the school food selection. I think they're actually now starting to revamp them a little bit, which is nice. But I remember when I was in school, they would serve like mozzarella sticks, and I never really had a lot of opportunity to have a healthy meal. But I would say for sure, even just having those healthy snacks are really a great way to make sure you're getting a nice balance. Because eating healthy doesn't have to mean you're sitting down and having this perfect meal, because that's not really the real world. So packing some fruit with you, a yogurt, some trail mix, something very simple, cheese sticks, whatever it is that you like. I love peanut butter and almond butter, and I love to dip my apples in them. And I one of my other favorite snacks is a rice cake with almond butter. And that's something that if you have like those snacks with you, I think it's a nice way to balance things out. And that way you can make sure that you're getting them. And I'm hoping that they have healthier choices if you opt to get a lunch now, or just packing something from home. And one of the easy ways to do it too is sometimes if you have something left over from a meal, like a dinner, put it in a Tupperware and bring it. And that's something that I got used to doing. You just make a little bit extra and then it's really mindless. That's always a nice way to do it. You just have like a little bit extra food and then you pack it up with you. But I really say those snacks, I think is a really great way to make sure you're getting some good nutrition without having to, you know, prepare this big fancy meal.
And I think what's happening in school too is lunch could be at 10:30 a.m.
Right, right.
And then we're training at 3:30 and we don't have time to go home. You know, we're leaving right from school. So it's a lot of balancing, but it's a lot of preparation. So to be an elite athlete, ladies, just so you know, it's work. So
It is.
Hydrating, making sure you're drinking, making sure you have a plan, making sure you're writing down the things that you like so that the food is available to you in your home. It takes work. It's not easy. So as much as you think it's all about what you're doing with the ball, your touches on the ball, it's really the stuff off the ball that will kind of separate you from everyone else. So if you go to a session tired because you didn't sleep, that's part of being a healthy person. And you go to a session and you didn't eat well enough to fuel your machine, then you're not going to be able to compete at this level for a long time. It's just a given. So this is part of your, you know, when you pack your soccer bag and stuff like that, part of that bag is what you're doing before, during, and after. Okay, so that's the complete package to be and continue to be an elite athlete and sustain your performance over time. We have one more question before we end, but this is from a parent. We eat healthy as a family, and yet I'd also love for my kid athletes to enjoy special treats without feeling guilty. What do you recommend in terms of like a special treat, ice cream, donut, as examples?
I mean, I think that they should definitely be included. I'm all about balance. I mean, that's why one of the names I gave myself on Instagram is the fun dietitian, because life it has to be fun too. And we have to enjoy the foods there are some foods that are meant for fuel and there are some foods that are meant for enjoyment. And I think that balance is important. I think the majority of the foods that you're getting should be depending on your age, there's, you know, I follow the 80-20 rule myself, which is 80% of the time I'm trying to get the best nutrition I can in my body. And then that other 20% is fun. I will have a brownie or cookie, some ice cream, pizza, whatever it is with my family. And you learn how do those foods make you feel? And if you feel kind of sluggish, because sugar it's going to give you energy, but I learned from that swim meet, it's not long lasting energy. It'll give you this boost and then you're tired after. So you're trying to keep yourself fueled for an entire game. So you learn that the foods that really help you get through that game, but you should for sure be able to enjoy whatever it is that you love in those small amounts where it's not taking up the majority of your nutrition.
Great. I think that's a great message. I mean, last night I wanted pizza and I was like, and my kids were like, you want pizza? And I was like, yeah. And I ate a lot of pizza and I did not feel guilty about it. It was something that I wanted.
Yeah.
And it was great. And you know what? And then tonight we sat down as a family and we had a nice chicken meal. So it's like, it is a balance. And then the next night, who knows what we're going to have. But I think the fun piece is so important. We want you to take care of your bodies, but we want you to take care of your spirit as well. And there's a lot of comfort food out there too. And for me, it was pizza last night. Go for it, folks. Okay. You're elite athletes.
Yes.
You're student athletes, but you're people too. So have fun with it. Janaelle, you were fantastic. I really appreciate it. I really did take notes. So our homework that we have players is to really kind of be mindful about what you like, what you enjoy for food. I suggest you share that with your families and kind of come up with recipes and fun things to do around your meal prep. The snack piece, I think, is really important. I think that gets me through the day, the snacks. So thinking about those healthy choices with the things that you love. I never liked peanut butter. I have to be honest, I have to share this. I never liked peanut butter. And everyone was like, oh, I can't believe it. So I kind of got peanut butter shamed. Now I have my major snack is always bananas with peanut butter. Like I have that every single day, and I love it. And it's been a game changer for me a little bit because I feel like it's good for me, and I feel good after I have that snack. So, all right, before I let you go, everyone, Monday night we have Stephanie Smurl, who has coached both men and women at the college level, championship coach at the high school level, championship coach at the college level, because she coached with me at Endicott and we won a couple of championships together. And she's the athletic director at Lesley University. And so she's going to be speaking with us on Monday about mental preparation and also what college coaches are looking for in terms of your body language, your demeanor on the field, things that you're doing off the field, all the things that coaches are looking for when they're recruiting you for their program. So we will see you on Monday night. If anyone has any questions, you can find me on Instagram, same with Janaelle, and I'm going to be posting it all over social media, so you will see. Feel free to message me or send me an email. But the participation has been outstanding for all of our sessions. I think that we had at one point 70 people on tonight, Janaelle, so that was fantastic. So your message is fantastic, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you
so much. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye.